It saddens me how many young guys and girls fall into the wrong trap, and it comes down to who they're influenced by. They fall in love with the idea of fast cars and fancy watches, but you've got to be really careful about the types of people that you're listening to. If you're a bullshit artist selling a get-rich-quick scheme, it's like selling crack on the street. It's criminal. Ultimately, if someone's going to mentor you or influence you, then you want to be holistically successful, they need to be as well. Because if they've compromised their health and their relationships to achieve financial success, and you're not willing to compromise those things, then they're not the right person to work with. From the beginning, I can just always remember trying to enterprise or commercialize everything that I was doing. My maternal grandparents owned a news agency and they'd owned hotels, and they'd been in business their whole lives. And I remember when I was 5 years old, going and working for my pop. I'd follow him around, and we'd walk to work at the beginning of the day, and we'd go fetch the newspapers, and we'd stock the shelves, and we'd serve customers, and then we'd do the accounts and the bookkeeping at the end of the day. And at the end of the week, I remember he'd pay me a $5 note in a cash pay packet, and that was my weekly earnings for going to work with him every day in the school holidays. I remember I'd have my dad back up his old ute up the driveway and park it, and me and my mates would sell these oranges and lemons whilst we're playing the drums and whilst we're hanging out. And the one rule was we weren't allowed to get off the back of the truck because we were so young. But yeah, whether it was setting up a shop at home in one of the spare bedrooms and finding things around the house that I could sell my mum and my stepdad, just random things. And so I've always been an enterpriser, and then really quickly I realized that what I've got to do is I've got to find the people who have done what I want to do. And they weren't the people that were immediately around me. I would start going to business events and going with purpose and intent. When I went to an event, I wouldn't just go and sit in the back corner. I'd sit at the front. I'd dress to impress. I'd have business cards made. And I had a number of different business cards when I was a young entrepreneur, I used to call myself. And one of them was green, and it was bright green, and it said hello. And I'd hang around to the very end of those events, and I'd wait until everyone's left. And I'd go and introduce myself to the speaker and say, hey, my name's Sam Hub, I'm 15 years old. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm probably the youngest attendee in your crowd here. I've just wagged school and got an Uber here. My parents told me I shouldn't come, but I did. Can we have a yarn for 15 minutes? I can't afford the program that you were selling for $3,000, but what if I sold 4 of them for you? Would you be able to give me a 5th one for free? Again, not taking an obvious difficulty as the end point, understanding that there's other ways to go about this. As soon as I started year 12, I quickly realized that I wasn't going to go to university. And so I left school, I've just turned 17, and then I'm like, you know what, I need to leave home. If I want to actually give this thing a crack, I need to become an independent adult, start living my life. And so within a fortnight of leaving school, I also left home. And at that point in time, I didn't know what I wanted to do in business yet. But what I did know is I did know that in business, one of the primary skills that would be important moving forward is the ability to speak, sell, and communicate. And I decided that a great industry to work in would be the business seminar industry. And so I went and worked for one of the world's largest business seminar promotion firms.
My full name's Sam Hope. I'm 17 years old. Yeah, just relocated to Sydney.
And that opportunity was foundational.
Just here, walking up the wharf for my first day at Success Resources. What a lovely view it is. Super excited to start this journey. Hey guys, look, don't really know why I'm doing this. Wanted to jump on and just be super duper raw. I moved to Sydney a few months ago now, and And yeah, I mean, like right now off the top of my head, I don't think within 50 kilometers or so, I wouldn't know anyone under 30, I'd say, under 30 or 40. And for someone around my age, I mean, under 20, 25, probably not in the whole of Sydney. And so it can be super fucking lonely.
From there to now, it's really been about staying in the game of business and identifying an opportunity that I've believed is worth having a crack at. I've worked for 2 companies and taken 3 companies to market. It wasn't about the money, it was about the learning. When you have an idea, there's only so much you can do to theoretically test it. Pretty quickly, you've got to actually go into the marketplace and build like a minimal viable product and test if people are willing to pay for the product or service. Earlier on in my journey and in some of my earlier businesses, I would set up the brand and spend a lot of time on making sure that everything was right. At this point, it's different. It's getting something to market, figuring out if someone's willing to buy it, and then going to the next step, and then going to the next step, and then going to the next step. It's kind of like checkpoints. If I had to put down everything that I've achieved to date to one thing, it would actually be networking. And with networking, a lot of people think it's building relationships, but it's actually about maintaining relationships, because it's not that hard to meet people. If you put yourself in the right positions and you've got a degree of confidence, you can go up and shake someone's hand, you can meet them. But it's about what you do after that. And throughout my life, I've implemented what I call purple cow strategies. And they're just things that are different. If most people send an email, I'll look at sending a letter. A number of the incredible voices that have featured my interview series, those relationships have sprung from sending physical letters. And I'd handwrite the letter, or I'd physically have a greeting card designed with their face on it. In some instances, I would have a QR code inside the greeting card. They'd open the greeting card, they'd scan the QR code, and it would pop up on their phone a 4K cinematic multi-angle production of me introducing myself to them and inviting them onto the show, or even just inviting them to coffee and saying that I wanted to build a relationship with them for XYZ reason. And so there's all lots of different examples of how I've been what I call purple cow when it comes to networking. But fundamentally, it's been the biggest thing because it served as my education. I mean, first of all, inspiration, because you actually need to be able to see the people that have done what you want to do, so that it is possible. And then obviously you build relationships with them and you learn from them. And it's like the ladders in Snakes and Ladders. Knowing the right people at the right time is like going up a ladder on that game. Changed my life. I think in terms of the future, for me, it's just really about continuing to compound hard work and just keeping my foot on the throttle. I know that whatever I do in whatever direction I'm going in, I'm going to do it to the best of my ability. And I think that's the only way to do things. You've got to be audaciously attacking whatever you're doing with serious purpose and intent. I want to continue to evolve into being a better man, a better businessman, and just a better human being. And usually what you want in life is on the other side of hardship. And so for me, it's just about just keeping that head down and keeping going, and being prepared to face all of those challenges head on. And so we'll see what the future holds, but right now it's focusing on what's in front of me and just following the path and being patient.